how far would you go to expose a terrible secret? Would you dare to face the very system that threatens to silence you? In a world where secrets are often buried deep under the veil of power and influence, it takes an unimaginable courage to stand up against the odds. And this is the story of two such brave individuals, two sister-in-laws who dared to bear the truth in the face of danger. Their story is not one of ordinary women, but those who found themselves in exceptional circumstances. One was a homemaker, a devoted wife and mother, leading a seemingly normal life in a small town. The other, a fiery young woman full of dreams and aspirations, who moved into the family as a new bride. Life was as normal as it could be until a sinister secret began to unravel. The secret was so profound that it threatened to shatter their lives and the lives of those around them. But instead of succumbing to the fear, they made an unthinkable decision. They decided to expose the truth, to bring it out into the open. They decided to call for a press conference to share their story with the world. This press conference was no ordinary event. It was a daring move, a bold step towards justice. It was a confrontation, a challenge to the very system that was designed to protect them, but instead chose to silence them. The world was about to witness an event that was as unprecedented as it was courageous. As the news of the press conference spread, the anticipation grew. People wondered, speculated, questioned. What could be so important, so urgent, that these two women were willing to risk it all? What was the secret that they were about to reveal? Little did anyone know, this press conference was just the beginning of a story that would shake the entire system. The room was filled with a tense silence as the two women stepped up to the microphone. Imagine the scene. A room packed with reporters, their cameras poised and ready, a palpable air of anticipation hanging heavy. The two women, a sister-in-law duo, stood at the front, a sea of lenses and expectant faces before them. The silence was deafening, the tension electric. They began to speak, their voices steady despite the gravity of the situation. They talked about their experiences, their struggles, their fears, and their hopes. They spoke with a raw honesty that was both shocking and inspiring. Every word, every sentence was a testament to their courage and determination. The reporters listened, some with skepticism, others with a growing sense of awe. They were no longer just spectators. They were witnesses to a story that was unfolding before their very eyes. A story of two women, bound by common hardships, standing up against an unforgiving system. Questions were thrown their way, some harsh, others sympathetic. Yet, they stood their ground, answering each query with a grace and poise that belied the turmoil within. They were not here to defend themselves, they were here to expose the truth. As they concluded their statements, the room fell silent once more. Then, a flurry of activity. Cameras flashed, reporters scrambled, the air buzzed with the potential impact of their revelations. The immediate aftermath was chaos, a storm of speculation and anticipation. But, amidst the chaos, there was a sense of something shifting, something momentous. The courage of these two women had not gone unnoticed. They had not only spoken their truth, but had also given voice to countless others who had been silenced. As they concluded their statements and exited the room, one thing was clear. They had set a series of events into motion that could not be stopped. But just when the world was still reeling from their revelations, a shocking twist occurred. In the blink of an eye, one of the women, who had just moments ago been in front of the media, sharing their heart-wrenching story, was no more. Her sudden, unexplainable death sent waves of shock and disbelief across the nation. It was as if the earth beneath everyone's feet had shifted and the world was left gasping for breath. The immediate aftermath was a whirlwind of confusion and speculation. Eyes turned almost instinctively to the surviving sister-in-law. The question on everyone's lips: could she have had a hand in this tragic turn of events? The whispers grew louder, the rumors more insistent. The surviving woman, once a figure of sympathy, was now shrouded in suspicion. The public reaction was a mixed bag of shock, disbelief, and a morbid fascination. Social media was ablaze with theories and conjectures, each more sensational than the last. Some pointed fingers at the surviving sister-in-law, others speculated about a deep-rooted conspiracy. The media lapped it up, adding fuel to the fire with their incessant coverage. Meanwhile, the authorities were left grappling with the aftermath. The death had occurred under the public eye, making it a high-profile case that demanded immediate attention. So, the investigation began in earnest. The police started piecing together the events leading up to the tragic incident, combing through every shred of evidence, every possible lead. Yet, as they delved deeper into the case, it became increasingly evident that this was not a straightforward situation. There were far too many unanswered questions, too many loose ends. The plot was thickening, and the truth seemed to be slipping further away. As the investigation began, it became apparent that this was not just a simple case of a tragic death. The stage was set for a mystery that was about to unravel in the most unexpected ways. As the investigation progressed, the truth began to unravel, revealing a tangled web of deceit and corruption. Like a meticulously woven tapestry, the threads of this sordid tale began to weave together, forming a picture no one had anticipated. The investigation dug deep, unearthing the involvement of individuals whose power had once seemed untouchable. These figures, who were once seen as pillars of society, were now exposed for their part in this grand scheme of corruption. Their facades crumbled, revealing a chilling reality that shocked the public to its core. The corruption was not a small, isolated incident. Instead, it was a systemic issue, deeply ingrained and widespread. It reached into every corner of the system, tainting it with its insidious touch. The sheer extent of it was staggering, leaving many in disbelief. These revelations sent shockwaves through society. The public, once trusting and unsuspecting, was now skeptical and wary. They questioned the system they had once believed in, the figures they had once looked up to. The impact was profound, shaking the very foundations of societal trust and faith. But with every revelation, every exposed lie, there was a sense of grim satisfaction. The truth, no matter how ugly, was coming to light. It was a painful process, like ripping off a Band-Aid, but it was necessary. It was a step towards justice, towards accountability. It was a step towards a better, more transparent society. The truth was out there, and it was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. But despite the darkness, there was a glimmer of hope. For in exposing the truth, no matter how harsh, we move closer to a future where such deceit has no place to hide. In the aftermath of these revelations, the entire system was left shaken. The echoes of the sisters-in-law's voices still lingered, revealing a corruption that was deeply rooted and far-reaching, like a malignant tree with branches stretching into every corner of the society. The case had consequences far beyond what anyone could have anticipated. The system, once believed to be impenetrable, was left exposed and vulnerable. The revelations led to an upheaval, with a wave of investigations and reforms sweeping across the board. The Iron Curtain that had veiled the truth was finally lifted, allowing for a new era of transparency and accountability. The surviving sister-in-law, the one who had dared to speak out, found herself in the eye of the storm. Her life was forever changed, marked by both the tragedy of losing her sister and the courage it took to expose the truth. She became a symbol of resistance, a beacon of hope in a society eager for change. Meanwhile, the public reaction was a mixture of shock, anger, and ultimately, a call for change. The revelations sparked a societal awakening. People began to question, to demand answers, and to hold those in power accountable. This case served as a stark reminder of the power of the truth and the necessity to fight for it, no matter the cost. The changes that were made as a result of this case were significant. New policies were implemented, old practices were scrutinized, and a newfound emphasis was placed on integrity and transparency. The sisters-in-law's story resonated far and wide, inspiring others to stand up against corruption and injustice. In the end, two sister-in-laws had managed to shake the entire system, exposing a corruption that ran deeper than anyone could have predicted. Their story serves as a stark reminder of the power of truth, the courage of the few, and the potential for change when the veil of deceit is finally lifted.